Hey everyone, welcome to It Tastes Different Gaming Appetizers. And what are we talking about this time? We're talking about Diablo 4 getting a new expansion every year. So Blizzard has yet to officially announce future plans for Diablo 4 expansions, but in an interview with Rod Ferguson, who's the general manager of Diablo, made a reference to annual expansions after being asked about how long the game will be supported. He says, obviously, Ferguson replied saying, obviously, that's how long a piece, that's like how long is a piece of string. I guess what he's meaning is saying, like, it could be anything, but years and years is what they're saying as far as how they're going to support this game. He says that the first thing that we're focused on when we look at the launch of the game and this first season, we're looking to building a foundation on which we can build for the future. So as we look at quarterly seasons, we look at our annual expansions. Those are things that we're really focused on for our live service. We've got plans. We have storylines that go well into the future. We're always leapfrogging our seasons and leapfrogging our expansions. So it's something we're going to do for a long time. So basically, without officially announcing it, Rod Ferguson's pretty much announced in a sense that they're looking at bringing out annual expansions for Diablo. So, every year, some big expansion for the game. And that makes a lot of sense, right? I mean, this is they're putting it as a live service. So think of all the other live services. How often does Destiny or for some reason I'm blanking on other live services, but other live service games, how often Fortnite and stuff like that, how often do they come out with big new content updates? Right? Not the little seasons or little things that they're doing, but big updates, right? And it's usually about every year or so that they'll bring something big and new to the game, right? They always have content drops periodically, new seasons that drop in content and various things like that. All these live service games do, but they usually every year or so, they usually have a bigger content drop where they'll drop a bunch of stuff. New storylines, new seasons, new things to do, right? A new purpose for going in besides just collecting everything from the battle pass, right? And so it makes a lot of sense that Diablo 4 would go in this direction, being a live service. And we're looking at we're saying annual. We had season 1 come out not too long ago. And then season 2 is coming out here in October 17th. Season 2 is coming out for Diablo. So, we're going to get the quarterly seasons that we're expecting. And then every year, we're looking at expansion. So Diablo 4 came out on June 6th of this year. So I don't know if we could expect June 6th of coming up here in the next year in 2024. For an expansion to release, or are we talking possibly 2025, right? By the time the first expansion comes out, I would imagine probably next year, right? For a live service game, you have to keep things going. I mean, seasons can't necessarily always do that for you. You have to bring in new content and stuff like that. So the quicker, that's the thing about live service games. You have to constantly evolve, constantly bring in content. You can't just relax on the battle pass, right? The battle pass will not take you, if new content's not coming into the game, people will not stick around for just the battle pass, right? That you have to keep continuously bringing in new things into the game. Otherwise, people get bored and they move on. So while I think Diablo 4 has a lot of things that need to be fixed, they should really focus on at the moment, in my personal opinion, fixing what Diablo 4 needs to have fixed, is because there's a lot. that needs to be resolved in the game, in the proper title of this game before thinking about, even before seasons, right? I mean, but we had season 1 that's going on right now, and we're going to have season 2, which is going to give some more quality of life stuff to the game. But there's a lot of quality of life aspects to this game that need to be there that are not there today. So I'd say for Rod, fix those, and then we can talk about expansions. In my personal opinion. But Pat, what do you think about Diablo 4 having annual expansions and kind of the state of Diablo 4, in your opinion?
They need a lot of quality of life changes, as you said, before I think they even need to think about an expansion pass or expansion, because I have the season pass for season 1, and guess what? I played about 2 days worth of it. It is extremely boring. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I mean, Diablo 3, in my opinion, did seasons right. I jumped into Diablo 3 multiple times during multiple seasons journeys to do things. And it worked, and it was entertaining, and it was fun. But Diablo 4's new season felt like a slog. It felt like I was doing the whole thing all over again, minus getting to skip the storyline. And all that did to me, ended up doing for me, was slowing down my progress. I was like, I shouldn't have skipped the story, because that's where the bulk of XP was coming from to get to the level. So I could just run, higher tiers. There's a lot of stuff they need to fix. In my opinion, before I would come back to play an expansion. I'm not interested in expansion right now. The main game is rinse, repeat, boring over and over and over. There's no reason for me to come back and play a season. There's cool cosmetics and crap in all the season pass, but I don't feel like there was anything unique about the season. Like Diablo 3 would always highlight builds and things like that, and set pieces would help you obtain some of those bonuses for the season, so you can make a unique character for that season, and they're highlighting a build process. The Diablo forum didn't seem to care for any of that. They're just like, hey, rerun everything you did before, unlock all the tier unlocks again, which I'm like, screw that. I already unlocked that once. I don't want to unlock it again. I don't want to go to visit every waypoint, visit every dungeon, visit every camp. I'm like, no, this is stupid, and I'm out. And because there's nothing unique. And so they also don't have a really good group finder like they had in Diablo 3, where I could just queue for greater rift runs. And in 4, it's like, nope, don't have that. You guys need to do something about that to make running and finding a group to run through high level dungeons easier for people who don't want to run everything solo. Because you can run everything solo, but it's more fun in groups of people sometimes to just, or maybe you might be stuck at that point where you're just like, I need a little bit of a gear push to push me over that limit so I can now still run some of these on my own. I need that help. So I think that Diablo is in a sad state of affairs right now, and expansion should be the last thing on their mind. They should be fixing all of this things that people are having issues with. Like, I have issues with the mounts. I have issues with the whole leveling system. I have issues with the season pass. So to me, it's not a fun game. And in hindsight, I will not be getting season pass for a while until they fix a bunch of this stuff. I wasted my money on the season 1 pass because I didn't get very far into it before I'm like, this is boring, and I'm done. I know they've done stuff like increase mob counts in dungeons and things like that, but that's just a small piece of the pie. Like, there's just so much wrong with this game, and I don't know. I didn't need to fix it, and hopefully they can fix it in time before they roll out their first expansion, because if they haven't, I won't be getting that first expansion. But this is, just like Nick said, this is the life cycle of a games of service game, right? Fortnite, Apex Legends, Destiny, Genshin Impact, Valorant, all those guys have the same philosophy. Rotating seasons once a quarter, and then we roll out expansions or DLC content, they may call it. And that's what they do. So it's their cycle. But unfortunately, I think the Diablo is very boring and doesn't, this Diablo 4, as I should say. Diablo in general has always been great. But Diablo 4, they just want me to rinse and repeat the story all over again every season. I'm out on that. I like seasons like they are in Destiny, where it's like, okay, cool. I don't got to remake a character, but they're highlighting certain builds and aspects, and I'll try that build out on a single character. Diablo's obviously been like, build up this, get so many Paragon points, and we'll transfer that character over. In 3, they used to give you Paragon points for your entire other classes and stuff, but doesn't seem like they're doing that in 4. But I've not read much onto it because I was completely bored with it. So for me, I'm out on an expansion as the game sits today. I don't know about you, Nick. Would you buy the expansion as the game sits today, or what are your thoughts on that? Because I think it's in a sad state of affairs right now.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you on that. It is very boring. I probably put more into the battle pass than you did. I think I've unlocked half of it. But I gotten to the point where I'm just like, I'm tired of, like, I redid all the renown for all the areas, got all the places, did a ton of side quests and everything like that. Got to, level 3 on the, did the chalice dungeon or whatever to get level 3, difficulty.
Yeah, Torment World.
Yeah, Torment. And then, I have to do the other dungeon to get to level 4. And I just, at this point, I'm just like, I don't know what I'm doing on here anymore. Right. Like, I'm grinding for what? Just to unlock some cosmetic items on the battle pass that I probably won't do anything with. Like, other than that, I have no reason to do this. And season 1, like when it started out, season 1 was like, okay, this is cool. I like the malignant hearts and stuff like that. But as the more I got into it, I was like, you what you end up doing is you end up finding like the 3 malignant hearts that work best for your class. And then once you found those, which is pretty quickly, then you're like, all I can do now is just find better versions of that malignant heart that just do better than what the one, because I ran a necromancer. I think together I ran a barbarian on the season, and then I ran a necromancer by myself. And for the necromancer, I found the 3 malignant hearts that work great for the necromancer, and that's pretty much all I've stuck with. Like, I've not traded those 3 out. Every time I get a new piece of gear, I just pop in that same. I mean, of course you can't pop them out, but I just happen to have another one, so I just pop the same one in there, right? Because it works best for the build, and that's pretty much the extent of it. So, yeah, there's no. The game has a lot of quality of life issues that it needs to resolve. The game is great when you first start a new character from the very beginning, if you've never played the game before, right? From 1 to 50 and going through the campaign and everything and enjoying what's there. Awesome. Even if you restart a character from 1 to 50 is not bad. Once you get to 50 and going from 50 to 100, it's just a slog. It's a boring slog because all you're doing is just repeating the same thing over and over again, only to get to level cap for no reason other than to maybe fight Uber Lilith. But other than that, there is no end game to this game. There's nothing to strive for once you get there. Season 1 didn't add that. Season 2, which adds like vampires or werewolves or something like that to the game. Again, are we going to have to redo Renown again and get the waypoints again? And like, nobody wants to do that. It's so boring I did it again and it was boring. It was very boring to unlock all that stuff again. And for every season to have to do that again and then again and then again, like, yeah, this game, if it's going to, the problem with Diablo 4 and the problem with Blizzard at this moment is, Blizzard needs to do something drastic to really fix this game. Otherwise, like a lot of live service, regardless of the name of it being Diablo, right? I feel like Blizzard and Activision are just kind of riding on the fact that it's Diablo and just hoping that name recognition alone is going to carry it. But I have the problem with live service games is it doesn't matter your name recognition. It might off the get-go, right? And it did for Diablo. There was a lot of players. And there probably still are a lot of players today. But, I got on yesterday just to hop on real quick. And, it was my season character. I was in the main town. Usually in the main town in the center where you come into the game, there's always people there. Always. When I went in there was nobody. No one person in that town. And I was like, because as much as I played the game and played through the seasons and everything, when the game came out and then when season 1 came out, there was always, every time you went to town, there was always people there. Always. I don't think I ever went to town once where there wasn't at least one person, usually more than one, but at least one person sitting around. Now, not to say that people weren't playing. I'm sure people were playing, but it was just weird to see that the main town was like a ghost town. Really. But I think people have just lost interest, right? Season 1 was not as fulfilling for a lot of people, and me included. Like I liked it at the start, but then after a while, I started to not enjoy the season. I thought it was it's very lackluster. And then having to redo everything, I think people just lost interest. I think it would have been better to kind of follow the Destiny model where you have one character. I understand Diablo has several characters, but if they could just make it to where maybe you character created one character, and I know that would change things up, but the way that they want to build this, it would kind of work better in this regard. They built one character, you choose a class, and then kind of like Final Fantasy, right? If you wanted to reclass, you reclass your character. So you still stick with your same character, but you change your class altogether, and then you can respec your person and put new equipment on and stuff like that. And then now, you went from a barbarian and now you're a sorcerer, right? Or whatever. And then you can play through as a sorcerer if you decide you want to respec your class and be something different, but you still have that one character, right? That you're playing with throughout the entire game. That way, when they include things like seasons, maybe you play the season to get something for your different characters. They could also do, because a lot of the seasons, this is the thing that sucks too about the fact that they have classes, because everything in the season battle pass is cosmetics for every single class. There's nothing specific or specific things in the game for a specific class, right? It's all just straight through the line. So if they had it where you could change classes, they could make things in there where you could do certain quests for certain classes where they have certain things in there, right? For those people that play those classes, or like, even if you didn't play those classes, you could get that and be like, okay, this is for the necromancer. I'm not a necromancer, but if I decided maybe I'll put this in my chest and hold on to it, because if I decide, hey, I'm going to change my class and be a necromancer now, I can change over to it and now I can equip this thing, right? And use this item. And I think that would have been better as far as cosmetics and armor and things like that they could broaden that, right? Because what you see in Battle Pass 1, the first Battle Pass, which is all cosmetic stuff, is really what you're going to get in every Battle Pass. And I think people are going to start to lose interest in that. They want something more, something that when you do a Battle Pass, or if you do like things in the game, you want to do stuff that's going to build up the character that you're playing, right? It's fun to play other characters and stuff like that, but I think a lot of people like to just pick a character and build that character into a powerhouse and not have to like constantly re-roll every single time, right? That can work in certain instances, but Diablo 3 did that where you re-rolled every time. But the way Diablo 3 was, it was kind of a live service and kind of not, right? They didn't really say it was a live service, even though it kind of was in a sense. But the way that they structured everything was free, right? You didn't have to pay for the seasons and stuff like that. But the way they've structured Diablo 4 is it's following a lot closer, I think, the live service model that Destiny and these other live service games do. And I think it would be better to focus on allowing a person to have one character that they can just continuously use. Like if they use that character in the season, maybe when maybe for the seasons, they build the seasons out differently, right? Or maybe when you switch your character over to a season, it makes a copy of that character and that character starts at level 1. They could do something like that, but it's your same dude. You go through the season with that dude, and when the season's over, everything transfers over to your main character that's in the Eternal Realm or something like that, right? Now, these characters in the seasons will once the season's over, they will go over into the Eternal Realm so you can continue playing them. But I think something like that would really bring the longevity of the game. And I think people might enjoy that more. But yes, going back to the original thing, this game has a lot of things wrong with it that need to be resolved before talking about expansions and things like that. There's a lot of things missing, a lot of quality of life things missing from this game. And this game, after you've done the storylines and the side quests, and like, I don't want to have to redo side quests again. I've done the side quests so many freaking times, and I've gotten renowned so many times. I don't want to have to do that again. Like, if season 2 comes out and they're like, hey, this is our new gimmick, right? It was the festering malignant hearts in season 1, and in season 2 it's the blood vials, right? Or some crap like that, because it's going to be vampire themed or whatever. And but you have to do all the renown and the side quest again just to level your character up, or the campaign again. Yeah, I'm with Pat. I'm like, no, I'm out on that. Like, give me something else to do. Because the cool thing about Diablo 3 is, like, every season when you built your character up, I mean, of course you had the eternal dungeons or whatever they were called, the rifts.
The Greater Rift, yeah.
Yeah. But they also had those events, right? You could go out, you could pour it out to, like, different areas on the map, and, like, something new would be happening there. Like some weird event where, like, a town got decimated by the demons and everyone's dead and you got to go and investigate or something like that. Like, these cool little things like that. And Diablo 4 so far with season 1 doesn't have that. It has a short little story beat with the dude. It's not very long. You just go in a few dungeons and do a couple of malignant tunnels, and then you kill a guy at the end, a boss at the end of it, and that's pretty much the extent. And it's like, all right, cool, now go have fun doing what? The same crap I've been doing the entire time. Yeah, so I mean, it's unfortunate, but because I love Diablo, but right now it's if they don't do something, they don't do something soon, I feel like the player base is just going to drop off this game, and there ain't going to be really anybody playing it.
Yeah. I mean, it's already fallen off, but they'll just basically say, it's the ebb and flow of a live service game, what all the detractors will say. I mean, but we'll see how many people return for season 2, and that should be your telltale sign that the gamers don't want what they put out. And if a resident masochist, Nick, is finding the game boring, then that should tell you something. Nick will play games just to play games because they're a game. He's a masochist. He'll play the painful stuff. But I mean, yeah, it's so boring. And Diablo 3 and all those, yeah, you remade a character every season, but I didn't have to run any side quest, main story, or anything. I just start queuing up for Greater Rift runs, and I'm like, bam, 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 a couple, half a day on a Saturday or Sunday, and I'm level capped. And now I'm working on Paragon, and trying to get higher and higher Greater Rifts and all that stuff. But Blizzard wasn't microtransactioning the hell out of that. They were not trying to make money off of those seasons. So now they are, and they're like, and to me, they did a worse job in 4 than they did in 3, because 3 wasn't that boring. But I am fine because I didn't have to redo the whole thing. That's the whole thing that gets to me, is that I don't mind playing a seasonal type game, a game with a season pass or any of that kind of stuff. Probably only have limited amount of time. And right now, Diablo is not even near the top 3, in my opinion, to make me want to spend my money and time into that game, because I don't want to rerun the campaign again, which you can skip. But I also don't want to rerun every side quest, every dungeon, and get every town opened up. And just destroy all strongholds. I don't want to do that. I want to do the items related to my character's season journey. And that may mean I have to do some of the stuff, right? Because you did have to do some things in Diablo 3 to progress through the season journey. Those were laid out for you and you could see them. You're like, okay, cool. I'm not ready to tackle this one item, but I'm ready to tackle like these other 3. And so I'll go do these 3 while working myself up to be able to do a Greater Rift 70 by myself or something, something dumb that I have to do. Because there was stuff that you could do in a group, but there was also things that you could do. Like you had class quests or for your class that were dungeon specific, and only you could go in. You couldn't take people in with you. So Diablo 3 did it right. Diablo 4 just basically said, hey, rerun the same game, like Nick said, with we're going to have these malignant hearts at the end of some dungeons. And you basically get to pick the color you want by injecting the injector of the matching color. And as Nick said, you find out quick and hurry in the early stage which malignant heart colors work for you. So very boring. And I will not be participating in season 2 until some major changes happening. I will not be buying a annual pass or an annual expansion until I see meaningful change or the game just becomes fun. I think I had read somewhere that they're down to like 42,000 concurrent players at any given time, which is pretty low considering they were in the multi-millions, I thought. So, but to me, it's too boring and I'm out. So,
yeah, I'm the same. I'm out too. I haven't played it. Like I said, I hopped on the other day. That was just to hop on for the sake of hopping on. I didn't even play it. Like I just walked around the town for a little bit. Then I got out and played something else. Because once I got in there with my season character, I'm like, why? That was the main question. Why? What am I doing? I'm just doing this so I can go up another level or two. Like the level grind is so slow in this game. It just makes it so boring. And when you've done the dungeons, the same dungeon 200 times in a row, and the dungeon variety doesn't change that much either when you go into them. And yeah, I agree. I think Diablo 3 did it way better, right? I enjoyed playing the seasons in Diablo 3. Like even not playing Diablo 3 for a while and then coming back and jumping into a season, it was a lot of fun. Whereas 4 so far, I mean, we only had one season, but the one season's pretty lackluster. And season 2, we don't know a ton about it, but again, there's just so many things that aren't working for the game. And if I have to redo everything again on another season character, I don't mind playing a barbarian or mind playing a sorcerer or whatever through the next season. But if they don't fix the things that are broken with the game now, then I'm not going to go through that. I'm not going to play through that if I have to redo all the side quests and everything. I just don't want to have to do that again. I can hear about one side quest one too many times where I'm like, because you get to the point where you know exactly where you need to go, who you're going to kill, who you need to talk to, what you're going to get. You're just like,
run the game in your sleep.
Yeah, pretty much. You just get into auto mode. You're just like, you're clicking. You don't even know. You're drooling on yourself because that's how fun it is.
Your eyes are glazed over. Your fingers are just moving instinctively.
Yeah.
You're not even really playing the game. You're subconsciously playing it at that point.
Right. You just download an auto clicker and let it do it for you. But yeah, so I mean, annual expansions, that makes sense because it's a live service game. But again, this game has a lot that needs to be fixed. And if Blizzard doesn't fix these things, at least quick enough, right? You have to fix them quickly. You can't slow roll this stuff out for a live service. We've seen many of live service games die because they can't get content or they can't get things out quick enough for the community. The community, regardless if it's Diablo or not, will quickly move on to something else if you don't give them not necessarily what they're wanting, but what the game needs, right? And this game needs a lot of quality of life fixes. And before that happens, it's just not going to go anywhere. So anything else you want to say about this, Pat? All right. Well, let us know down in the comments below. What do you think of Diablo 4? Are you still playing it today? And what do you think of the season 1? And what do you think of annual expansions coming out to Diablo? Are you ready for an annual expansion, or are you like us and you want, before we jump into an annual expansion, you want to see a lot of quality of life improvements to this game? Let us know down in the comments below. Other than that, thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure you like the video and make sure you subscribe if you're not already. Help us out. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification to stay up to date with new videos that we do every time. And we'll see you next time.